For 52-year-old Dawn Walker, October 27, 2021, should have been the happiest day of her life. A day to celebrate love, family, and a new beginning. The mother of three and grandmother of three had found love again with 45-year-old Thomas Nutt, and together they stood before friends and family in Halifax to say their vows. Smiles, toasts, laughter. It looked like a celebration of a bright future. But beneath the surface, something was terribly wrong. Those closest to Dawn noticed her hands were trembling. Her voice was shaky. She didn't look like a woman in love on her wedding day. She looked frightened. And within hours, that fear would prove prophetic. By 10:36 p.m., after a taxi dropped the couple back at their home on Shirley Grove in Lightcliffe, CCTV captured Dawn alive for the very last time. She would never walk back out of that house again. A life full of light. Dawn Walker was remembered as someone who radiated kindness. She was known for her generosity, once even paying for a disabled stranger's groceries when he came up short. To her daughters, Cody Shaw and Kiri Guest, she was not only a mother, but also their anchor, the person who remembered birthdays, phoned friends, and never let anyone feel forgotten. To her grandsons, she was a doting nana who made them feel loved every single day. She wasn't wealthy. She battled bipolar disorder and depression, but those struggles never defined her. Instead, she was remembered for her laughter, her warmth, and her habit of making everyone feel welcome. Within weeks of moving into her bungalow on Shirley Grove, she organized a barbecue for her new neighbors. That was Dawn, always reaching out, always giving, but while her community saw her as a pillar of kindness, behind closed doors, Dawn was trapped in a nightmare she could not escape. The man she married, Dawn met Thomas Nutt in 2018 or early 2019. At first, he seemed like companionship, someone who could fill the void of loneliness. But soon the relationship spiraled. Her daughter Kiri later recalled how quickly Nutt moved in and how quickly he began to exert control. To understand the danger Dawn was in, you need to understand who Thomas Nutt really was. His history of violence stretched back decades. At just 17, he was convicted of grievous bodily harm. In the 1990s, he served long sentences for robberies. In the early 2000s, he rammed another woman's car in a fit of rage and spent weeks in jail. For 10 years, he was in a relationship with a woman named Kimberly Olcock. At first, she thought he was kind, but soon the mask slipped. He punched her just 2 days after the birth of their child. By 2015, he was strangling and beating her so viciously she thought she would die. Kimberly later described him as a psychopath, a man who despised women, who could flip from loving to monstrous in a matter of seconds. The courts issued restraining orders. Kimberly fled to a safe house, but Nutt's control never stopped. He stalked her, intimidated her, and sent chilling messages, even smashed Easter eggs with the sinister note, "Did the kids enjoy Easter?" This was the man Dawn Walker married. The warnings, no one stopped. By 2020, Dawn was visibly suffering. Neighbors saw her with black eyes, swollen cheeks, and cuts across her face. Her daughter Kiri, just 18 at the time, recalled how he pinned her against a wall and smashed her head against a corner during one terrifying confrontation. In August 2020, Nutt nearly killed Dawn. She confided in others, "He nearly killed me." He was arrested, but Dawn, too frightened and too entangled, retracted her statement. The charges were dropped. The same pattern repeated in August 2021, just 2 months before their wedding. A neighbor overheard Dawn's desperate plea. "Don't believe him. He's trying to kill me." She said her ribs were broken. Once again, she retracted her statement. Once again, he walked free. Even Nutt's ex-partner Kimberly tried to save her. She warned Dawn directly, "He will end up killing you one day. Get out." Dawn admitted she was terrified. But she also said she loved him. It was a cycle of abuse and manipulation, and Dawn was caught in its grip. In the days before her wedding, Dawn confided in a neighbor, "Is it just nerves, or is it my gut telling me to run?" Her instincts were right. A wedding that became a funeral on October 27, 2021, guests toasted Dawn and Nutt at the Prince Albert pub in Brighouse. But instead of joy, many noticed Dawn's trembling hands and her pale face. She seemed anxious, even haunted. At 10:30 p.m., a taxi brought the couple home. The driver noted the silence. No laughter, no newlywed glow, just tension. Minutes later, CCTV captured Dawn walking toward her front door. That image would become her final trace of life. Neighbors heard bumps and thuds through the wall later that night. No screams, no shouting, just the chilling sounds of a one-sided attack. Between 11 p.m. and midnight, Dawn Walker was beaten and strangled to death by the man she had just married. The ghastly charade, "What Nutt did next," revealed his cold calculation. He stuffed Dawn's body into a kitchen cupboard. Hours later, he used her phone to send fake messages to her daughter. He washed his clothes, hung them out in the garden, and then, unbelievably, set off alone to Skegness in their caravan, pretending it was their honeymoon. On Halloween, while Dawn's body was still hidden, he decorated the house for trick-or-treaters. He even took Dawn's daughter and grandson out searching for her, knowing her corpse was inside. Eventually, as police pressure mounted, Nutt dragged a large suitcase through his garden. Inside was Dawn's body. He dumped her in bushes nearby. Hours later, her body was found. When the trial opened in July 2022, Nutt admitted manslaughter but denied murder. He claimed Dawn told him she wanted a divorce, and he simply lost his temper. But prosecutors exposed him as a manipulative liar with a long history of violence against women. The jury saw through his deceit. On August 10, 2022, they returned a unanimous verdict, guilty of murder. Nutt was sentenced to life with a minimum of 21 years. For Dawn's family, the sentence was bittersweet. Justice had been delivered, but no punishment could replace the mother and grandmother they had lost. A preventable murder. The tragedy of Dawn Walker's murder lies not just in Nutt's brutality, but in the failures of the system. The warnings were everywhere. Neighbors' reports, Dawn's injuries, her desperate pleas, Nutt's violent past. Yet time and again, charges were dropped. Dawn was left unprotected. Her murder was not only predictable, it was preventable. Remembering Dawn Walker was more than the horror of her final hours. She was a mother who called to wish you happy birthday, a neighbor who welcomed strangers with open arms, a woman who gave when she had little herself. Her life was stolen, but her memory endures. Her family asks that she be remembered not for her death, but for her kindness, her generosity, and the love she gave to everyone around her. If you or someone you know is trapped in an abusive relationship, please reach out for help. Call the National Domestic Violence Helpline, contact local services, or speak to someone you trust. Dawn's story should not be repeated. Her light was extinguished too soon. But by telling her story, we can ensure her legacy is one of hope, not silence.